All right, Mike chose the topic after we bickered about it for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you came up with a lot of really bad ideas.
just one, I think. What's your favorite legal drama?
I've had so many favorite legal dramas. And I mean, I can't even name one. There's been so many.
There has.
But we're going to talk about what they get wrong, right?
Yeah. Well, I would say my favorite for years was Law and Order. So I would use that one because they would use both sides. They'd have the police part and then they'd have the legal part.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right. Well, if you guys watched it, which I didn't, my favorite ones were like Drop Dead Diva.
Okay.
That kind of Law and Order show. And I'll talk about that later. But
Boston Legal. Not really.
you guys, there's been so many.
My two favorite legal dramas are somewhat akin to Law and Order. My favorite one was The Wire, which was on HBO that talked about
I love that.
the politics and the crime and the courts and policing in Baltimore, which was incredibly accurate in how policing was done and how the court system works. The second one, drama type, I just love John Grisham movies. And, it's not a show, but it's a movie.
Sure.
And he just, I think, really does a really good job of trying to maintain the nonfiction aspects and having respect for that, but entertaining you and putting in the drama aspect of it.
What's your favorite one?
I mean, my favorite John Grisham is The Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker.
With Matt Damon and Danny DeVito.
Speaking of Danny DeVito.
Well, that's what he would call him, the paralegal.
That's
paralawyer.
Right. The paralawyer. Right? Yeah. But that was I thought one of the first.
What about My Cousin Vinny?
Oh,
that's a great one.
Oh.
Also Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
All right. Well, without having to recount what all of them are about, let's just talk about some of the things that we've seen in either courtroom drama, like The Verdict, courtroom drama movies or shows that are really pretty much completely wrong.
Yeah. That teach people things that are wrong about the law.
Yeah.
For instance, what is it called when they read you your rights after you get arrested? Miranda rights.
Yeah.
Do they get that wrong a lot?
I mean, I've never paid attention to the words, but that they're using. But generally, that's a hard one to screw up because, the script, it's on the card. So I think I'd be surprised if somebody got that wrong. Okay. But what they get wrong is like a lot of the times when they have the police officers go into somebody's house and find ways to get into the house. They're
illegally.
Yeah. They're literally breaking into the house. And I'm like, no police officer would ever do that. Or a police officer goes rogue. He goes, no, I'm just going to do this. And they're like, call it in. And then the police officer goes, no, I got to go. Nobody does that. Nobody doesn't call it in, forgets the radio, and just kind of decides I'm the hero. I'm going to figure it out. So that I've seen that they get that wrong a lot of the times.
Well, on the lawyer stuff,
yeah.
I mean, I can't even it's always wrong. It's like if you were a doctor watching a medical show, you would just be going, I'm going to suspend my disbelief and watch this.
Well,
because you cannot watch, for a lawyer to watch a legal show, you cannot watch it critically because that's not how it works in real life almost ever, other than the concept of it. And the reason is because
it's not that exciting in real life.
Well, even if it is, it takes so much longer.
Yeah.
Like if you're watching a courtroom drama, it's done. The courtroom part of it's over within
20 minutes or so.
Max, and that would be
15.
a long.
Yeah, that would be a long case.
That would be a huge one. And then you have a lot of times you have these grand opening statements that are real argumentative. You're not supposed to argue an opening statement. It doesn't really work that way. And the prosecutors are often very argumentative across, and you can't, as a prosecutor, you have extra duties to the public that doesn't allow you to cross over the line to the extent that they do. The evidence rules don't almost exist. Just everything comes in.
Yeah.
You're in
the
middle
last minute evidence coming
you're
in.
in the middle of examining someone, and your private investigator or paralegal comes running down the middle of the court with the evidence, waving it in the air. I got it, and you win the day. This is all just baloney. But it's entertaining. The general concept is right, but let's just talk about evidence, for example, in a civil case.
Yes.
Okay? First of all, you got to disclose it way ahead. The other side gets to vet it. You can't hide it unless it's impeachment evidence and there's some wiggle room on that. Otherwise, it's going to be barred. The court won't bar it unless they have a particular hearing to make sure that the reason for the failure to produce was based upon total surprise. You had full due diligence, and this was beyond your control. And at that point, would probably take a recess and let everyone do what they needed to do before going forward. There's just so much procedure that is left out. The judge isn't up there just saying, overruled, granted. They're up there in real life.
Well, they're making decisions
Constantly.
on stuff that you guys bring up to them. It's not like they're just, like you said, it's not like they're just sitting there. There's stuff coming that they have to read or that they have to go back to their chambers to look at.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, it's also, I mean, you're not even describing correctly how slow it is, I feel. It's like if you
from your perspective as a non-lawyer, tell us how slow it is.
Oh, it's extremely slow. So you get to court, it starts at, 8 a.m. or whatever. You guys will get in there and both sides will be talking to the judge for like a half hour. And that's if everything moves along. Like I said, sometimes you'll have something that you give to the judge that they have to go back and read. So he'll stand up, everyone will stand up, he'll go back into his chambers, and that's going to be 15, 20 minutes before anything happens. If that happens several times, you guys aren't starting until like 10 o'clock. And then then it's like an hour for everything that happens after that usually, or maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time for stuff to happen. And it's a lot of talking.
It's a lot of monotone too.
Yeah, a lot of talking at the same volume and the same level.
A lot of trial is very monotone. A lot of it is there's no combativeness in it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like on the shows, they're always, both sides are always talking back to the judge, and I mean,
Yeah.
that would end the trial sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I like an example of how totally like not connected to reality something in court is do you remember the movie A Time to Kill by John Grisham?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So there's a scene
Which was the book.
which was the book. The book is better than the
Yeah.
movie.
And there's a sequel that's not as good.
So
Spoiler alert.
there's a scene where Matthew McConaughey is the lawyer defending
Samuel Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson, who kills a man who has raped his daughter and almost killed his daughter. And so he's on trial for murder.
Wait, he was a black guy, and the guy that killed his daughter was a white guy, right?
White guy, yeah. And then so Sandra Bullock is this young aspiring lawyer who says, I want to come work on this case. I have a lot to offer. And so she's assisting him. So the state, his defense is insanity, that I'm not guilty by reason of insanity. I went insane learning this fact about my daughter. So the state puts on an expert who's a doctor who runs a state hospital. And he evaluates him to come testify that, no, he is sane. He was completely sane when he killed this guy. This defense is bollocks. And so Sandra Bullock, to help Matthew McConaughey, goes to the hospital, okay, to try to dig up some facts about this doctor. Impeachment material, right? She falsely represents who she is, gets into the hospital and goes digging into files and discovers that this doctor has found everybody in his hospital insane because he wants them to be in the hospital so he can get paid. Then she runs over in the middle of cross-examination and she says, in the middle of the, and then he goes back and takes the files, and then he goes up, and then he impeaches him by saying, wait a minute, you were saying my guy is sane, but everybody you've ever evaluated, you found insane. So that means that you find people sane when it's for trial for the purposes of the state, but insane when you want to have them in your hospital and get paid. Okay, this would not have ever happened. Why?
Well, and the thing is, John Grisham was a lawyer, however many decades ago.
Yeah, but first of all, she would be
Suspends
disbarred.
disbelief.
She would be arrested
Yeah.
for doing this.
Also, HIPAA violation.
Oh yeah, that's what I was
I
going
mean,
to say.
I was just watching. I was like, this person was acted as a criminal, like to basically go, you know.
You gotta suspend your disbelief.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing is the state would have had to disclose that material about that doctor ahead of time. And so it's just, to me, I was like, okay, this is not real, but this is entertaining.
It's very entertaining. And,
Yeah.
And we could just keep going on and on and on about the things that are wrong because it's primarily wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of lessons to be learned for a lawyer who wants to try a good case to watch TV. There's a lot of good lessons. Number one lesson is monotone is not good.
No.
Being scripted, not good.
Long-winded, not good.
Yeah.
Taking a really long time to present your case, not good.
Yeah.
Talking about a lot of irrelevant stuff,
Yeah.
not good. What TV does is it gets to the heart of it. It's very dramatic, a lot of emotion, a lot of action, a lot of gasping, heart palpitations, surprise witnesses. I wish we could do that, but we can't. But
I've always wanted to do that.
I mean, isn't that just what you want?
Your Honor, I called to the stand.
Just the door opens.
So-and-so. And everybody goes, and then somebody in the background in the corner goes, dun, dun, dun. And I just want to see somebody do that. I just be like, yes.
Can I just say, though, that because I'm one of those people that have a lot of things going on in my head all the time. There will be times when I am trying a case, actually in court, and thinking this could be in a movie. Or when I'm thinking about it afterwards. Or even in depositions, I'm like, yeah, this should be in a movie. Because, here's an example. It's a case that was a great case. It was a burn case, and it was at a commercial site. This guy's employer, but we were suing this product. And we already knew what these people are going to say because we'd taken their depositions. So we were calling one of the supervisors who was going to lay another brick of foundation for our case. And in the middle of his testimony, he goes off script. And we're like, well, that's not what you said in your deposition. I mean, that's how you impeach someone, right? Didn't you say in your deposition so and so and so and so? And he says, well, that's when I used to work for that company, but I don't work there anymore, so I don't have to lie anymore.
Ooh. See, that's
a moment where everyone
yeah, you get the
But we're on the receiving end of it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm putting my Chinese grandpa's face on, which is completely immobile. And I am going to get through this, which I am. This should be in a movie. And yeah.
I hate that. Yeah.
But those moments, and like I said, one of my favorite legal non-dramas is Drop Dead Diva, where...
I don't know anything about that.
Okay,
What is
so
it?
Drop Dead Diva, the premise is this model, it's very, very much playing on stereotypes. There's a model, and she's very unintelligent, but very sweet and kind, flighty, and dramatic, and obsessed with, she walks, anyway, like Barbie. And she is in a car driving through LA, and she gets hit by a car and gets killed. At the same time, there's another woman about her age who is a lawyer in her office, think of the family law office, she's working, slaving away at her desk. She is frumpy, unkempt, extremely intelligent, working, and somebody comes in to have a dispute with her boss and shoots but misses and kills Jane, the attorney. So the model, whose name I forget, and Jane's souls go up to heaven, and then there's a mix-up because one of them is not going to die, and there's a mix-up. And the model's soul or whatever comes back down into Jane, the lawyer's body. So she's no longer the same person. Now she's got this whole, she is still smart.
Yeah.
And she still knows the law.
Yeah.
But she's got a totally different personality. And it's very entertaining. She's a very good actress, obviously,
Yeah.
to be able to pull that one off.
Yeah.
So I would be in trial. This is an actual case. I was in trial. There was an neurosurgeon up on the stand.
Yeah.
And he had just said, it was a surgical back injury case. He had said something, because this person had pre-existing degenerative disease of their spine, and he was making comments of, this surgery either wasn't needed, or if it was needed, it was just a furtherance of their prior condition, and there was really no injury from this collision. And so I remember thinking, okay, I could go up and I could take him apart step by step. It would take me probably 2 hours, right? But I've been watching Drop Dead Diva, and I'm like, how can I make this point? What would Drop Dead Diva do? And
you did, huh?
Oh, I did.
And what happened?
So I took a paper cup, I filled it with water, I walked up there, I put my raincoat up on the bench, and I said, this cup is the disc, and the water is the fluid in the disc. And you can have a tear in the cup, and the fluid can still stay in the water will still stay in the cup,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you tear a little bit more, some of the water could dribble out, right? And if you tear it all the way, then, so just the fact that you had a tear in that cup, like you had a pre-existing injury. And I mean, I made a big mess. Like the water was all over my cup, but it was such a visual little thing.
That's very
That was
smart
my
way.
entire cross, and I sat down. It was done in 5 minutes. Most of the time, me setting up the filling the water, and so that's what I like about watching some of this stuff, which is just so, there's just no way. But it does remind you that doesn't mean that there's not a better way that we can do what we do, especially in a society that has a very short attention span and where your jury comes from all walks of life, and so that maybe they don't speak vertebrae and, pre-existing conditions and this other stuff that we talk about. So I really enjoy and appreciate the movies and all of that, as you know.
Yeah. I think that that's a benefit of learning how to succinctly, clearly, and quickly put on a case in a way in which appeals to the audience that matters most, the jury.
And I think just acting in general. I mean, it's acting, so you kind of learn a little bit about acting, which is, like you said, at times when you're doing your opening and closing, you're kind of putting on a show.
Well, what you're doing is you're making sure that your personality is all the way out there to the extent it needs to be, which is elevated. But the Drop Dead Diva, I still think about Drop Dead Diva all the time. I did it in the John Henry Brown case in closing argument when he gave this very long, like 1.5 hour closing, and I got up there for rebuttal, and I just thought, as I always do, well, I could go point by point by point and address everything, and it would take about half an hour, and I could do that because that's rebuttal can go as long. But instead, I did a mantra about following the blood and follow the blood, follow the blood, follow blood, and just laid it all out. And it took like 5 minutes, and it was like really interesting. So the ducks, dressing up, it's all about the concept for me. I guess this is this is why I do it, and I've done this for a long time. What is our job? Our job is to relate and connect and to advocate. How are we going to do that? By lecturing people? Is that persuasive?
No.
Are we going to get up there and read from our paper
And make a
paper
jury fall
binders,
asleep
and then
while they're sitting
Are
there.
we going to put up a PowerPoint and turn our backs on the jury and read the PowerPoint because we think that that's different than reading our yellow page? Are we going to talk about every single detail and not edit it? Are we not going to have a theme? Are we just going to talk data points? That's how you lose a trial.
Yeah, remember the jury's going to go back and have all that information anyway. So
Yeah.
if they haven't started to think about the facts at that point, I don't think that running through them in closing is going to make them any more knowledgeable than they were before you did that.
Well, and remember this. What do people remember, even in a short span of time?
Yeah.
The data is going to go in and out. It's got to stick somehow. How are you going to make that data stick? And I think you should watch more movies and TV and see how it sticks. And what sticks? What do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember? You guys remember the details. I don't remember that stuff. I remember, I really liked watching it. That was really fun. I remember a few things because I'm on to the next thing I want to remember. So I don't keep a lot of stuff in my brain.
I remember scenes. I
In
can remember the
terms of
scene
movies.
with Sandra Bullock and him in the like rib place, talking about the case and him living in his office most of the time during the case. What was it? There was did they burn Samuel L. Jackson's house in that too?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did
The
cross.
lawyer's
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The lawyer's house. See, I didn't even get that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember some of the movies.
The most I think revealing thing that a juror said to me was when I'd gotten out of law school, and within like the first 2 years, I was trying a murder case with another lawyer, and after the case was over, a juror walked up to me in the courthouse. It was in San Francisco Superior Court, and pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I just want to tell you, your story made sense to me."
Mm-hmm.
And so and then he said, "I want to know what happens, because the jury doesn't get to be at sentencings or future proceedings. I really want to know what happens. Do you mind just following up? Here's my contact information. But your story made sense to me. It made sense to us." And I think that that was immediately made me realize, oh, wait a minute. This is not much about this. This is about telling the story and making sure your story makes sense to people who are not lawyers. So that was a really good lesson that I learned.
And I don't know if I told you this, but we're getting ready for another trial. It's very graphic, and we're gonna have to make sure the jury's okay watching it, or seeing some of the evidence, because you have to see it. But there was a trial that I did where I asked, in a case of sensitive, are you going to be able to look at evidence that might make you queasy? And it wasn't even that graphic of a case, and everyone said, yeah, no problem. And I did opening statement. This is Mark's case, Maislan. Mm-hmm. And it just had this is a man whose car, he had been injured by a truck, and I can't believe he wasn't decapitated because his vehicle went under the truck somewhat. And he was terribly injured, and he had had a lot of surgeries. And so we had one of those boards that showed all the different procedures he had, and I was just generally just touching upon them and opening. And one of the jurors started to faint. And, everyone came to her aid, pause, very embarrassed, apologize. And she said, when she asked me, talking about me, when she asked me or us if any of us was queasy, I really just didn't. I've never had that experience before. I didn't think that I had any kind of problem.
Yeah.
But after, when this, I felt like I knew that person, and I had this connection to this person who'd gone through this, and something about that, it was really personal to me when I saw that. And that's what I talk about. Making a connection with the jury so that they are feeling, thinking, understanding your case, your client, the whole thing, the experience about it. So that's what the benefit that we've gotten out of watching how the industry, the entertainment industry, has portrayed the law and why it still does. Why does it keep doing it? Because there are so much drama moments in it, and it is part of real life, and it's very interesting. It's just that the way that we do it, lawyers in general.
Well, you have to
not
follow the
always.
rules,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot longer, like we said. But I think that that's what I was going to say is I do think that the movies and TV sometimes get what people don't understand. Like people who say, "Oh, they're just trying to get money," or something like that. They don't understand how people's lives are impacted by some of the stuff that we have to deal with. I think some of the TVs and movies get that aftermath of what our clients kind of have to deal with and what their lives are after
Yeah.
the trial. So sometimes I think people get a better idea of what happens, but I think in general they don't.
Well, it's a lawyer's job to be compelling and to create a story. When you said that, it reminded me of there was a brain injury case of a person who was 18 when she suffered this severe brain injury. It was down south. We tried it at the bottom of the state. And she didn't attend the trial. Like, there was no way that she should attend the trial. She survived it, but she had a very bad injury to the brain. And sometimes when you injure the brain in a specific way, she had what's called a diffuse axonal injury. Basically resulted in a stroke. And as you know, with strokes, one side of your body. Mm-hmm. So if you are insulted on the right side of your brain, your left side is going to show as being impacted. And she had that kind of an injury. And the high drama of that trial, and there was a lot of drama, was when she came into the courtroom to give her testimony. And, she had major braces on her legs because now you have drop foot. Even though it's not a spinal cord injury, your whole side has been affected. So it's as if you have been partially paralyzed on part of your side. And she came in, I just can remember her. She was so young, not 20, walking in, with spasticity, and just how the jury just watched her, and how they watched her. You could feel them care for her and just urge her to that chair. And she didn't testify long. And then she had to walk back out. And so in many ways, real life drama in trial is so much more. It's so much more profound, obviously more real, more touching, life impactful than anything you could ever watch on TV.
I agree.
And that's it, folks.
Yeah.
Because I like to be right when we end.
Okay.